Patrick Dempsey and Susan Sarandon in Enchanted.
I am Ripper, Tearer, Slasher. I am the teeth in the darkness, the talons in the night. Mine is strength and lust and power. I am Beowulf.
Angelina Jolie, Anthony Hopkins, and Ray Winstone have a whole new look in Beowulf. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune.
All right, Michael. One of the oldest and most dreaded poems in Anglo-Saxon history becomes a campy, blood-filled, lusty 3D thrill ride. It's a Beowulf for the 21st century, and you don't want to miss it. Now, they're releasing this movie on standard 2D and on 3D, but you've got to see it in the IMAX 3D version. There you'll be able to fully appreciate the cutting-edge motion capture animation even as you're dodging spears and arrows. Ray Winstone plays the legendary title warrior.
You have a monster here? They say your lands are cursed. Is that what they say?
Bards sing of Hrothgar's shame from the frozen north to the shores of Vinland.
There's no shame to be accursed by demons. I'm Beowulf. I'm here to kill your monster.
Some of the actors, like Winstone and Robin Wright Penn as a young queen, to me didn't really resemble their animated doppelgangers. Others, most notably Angelina Jolie as the monster Grendel's mother, look amazingly like themselves.
What do you know of me, demon?
I know that underneath your glamour, you're as much a monster as my son, Grendel.
Anthony Hopkins plays the ancient prince who doubts whether Beowulf has truly slain Grendel's mother, who is much more dangerous than the monster itself.
Did you kill her? Would I have been able to escape her had I not?
Director Robert Zemeckis and his screenwriters have taken the epic poem from 1,500 years ago and turned it into an accessible fable about lust. Lust for glory, lust for immortality, and lust for blood. Beowulf is a fanboy's dream. If you had this much nudity and violence in a live-action film, it would definitely be rated R, but in this in-between animated world, it's a PG-13 kill fest. It's also funny, especially in an Austin Powers-type action sequence where Beowulf is fully nude, but his private parts are strategically covered. Michael, I think there's a lot of good stuff here. I had a hell of a good time at this movie.
I think there's 20 good minutes, and it's a film about a guy fighting a dragon.
Yeah.
It's the climax of this thing, but I got to say, this was a long 2/3 film to get to that dragon, you know, sort of smackdown.
Oh, come on! What about all the lust and song and wine and wenches and warrior talk before that?
I'm pro-wench, but this style of filmmaking, I have to say, just leaves me cold the way Zemeckis is using it. Now, it is better than Polar Express in some ways. You know, you get a slightly less creepy look around the eyes and the mouth, but I mean, look, all this money and all this technology, and everyone looks like Clutch Cargo after...
Oh, no, it's so much better than Clutch Cargo.
All right, Clutch Cargo with Botox.
It's a work in progress, but as such, I think it's a big step forward from what we saw in Polar Express. It's very funny at parts. It is very violent. I mean, you're getting hearts ripped out of beasts, and you're getting arms pulled off. I mean, it's certainly not boring stuff.
It's in the story, yeah.
And the performances are really interesting. You know, Anthony Hopkins, he's the kingly kind of character. You know, he's Anthony Hopkins, but then sometimes you're like, okay, that's Malkovich's voice, but the guy looks a little bit different. It's interesting. That's cool stuff, man.
Malkovich coming from the land of high snivel. You know, I don't know what he's doing in this thing.
That's great stuff, though.
The technology has yet to really serve a story in a dramatic way, I think.
Get your ticket, see it in 3D. You're better in 3D than you are in 2D, and so is this movie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If you're looking for a family story that's all about healing and reconciliation, permit me to steer you the hell away from Margot at the Wedding. But if you're game for a razor-sharp comedy about parents and children, this movie might be for you. Nicole Kidman plays Margot, whose sister, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, is marrying the unemployed Malcolm, played by Jack Black. Now, Margot's a master of the mixed signal, as you can tell in the scene between Kidman and Zane Pace, who's heartbreaking as her older son.
I hope you're not interested in that girl. I find her insufferable.
What does that mean?
It means I can't suffer her. She's loud and stupid, and she goes on about things of which she knows nothing about.
She got into Harvard early.
Stupid people get into Harvard early all the time.
Margot's sister is already pregnant by Malcolm, though she hasn't told him or anyone else yet except Margot. Mistake. Margot immediately tells her son, and soon the secret's out. You get a different side of Jack Black in scenes such as this one.
I found out right before our seminar. I'm pregnant.
Uh-huh.
Does that sound good to you?
I'm still digesting Margot telling Claude. What a nut job. Sorry. I think I'm really happy.
In writer-director Noah Baumbach's previous picture, The Squid and the Whale, your sympathies went out to the children who are learning to negotiate some kind of life with their outrageously self-absorbed parents. Same goes for Margot at the Wedding, which is even harsher than the other film. From first scene to last, it's a character study built on small insults and painfully funny reprisals. And no, it won't be made into a musical anytime soon. But I think it's an excellent film. I really like this.
Couldn't disagree with you more, Michael.
Good, good.
I don't think it feels very real. I think these characters feel overwritten. I like The Squid and the Whale a lot. But as you say, this is even harsher, and I think it becomes more of a caricature where you have all these very witty, clever, horrible people devoting their lives to ruining each other's lives and saying horrible things and breaking confidences. And, you know, I mean, in the case of the mother there, who obviously should be institutionalized, should not be caring for her son, and it just becomes dreary and repetitive.
Well, what you're saying is that you don't like it because these are dislikable people.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that would rule out half of the world's great books and a quarter of the great films.
But if that, yeah, you know, you could say that about Goodfellas, okay, but that's not what I'm saying. Their efforts to ruin each other's lives for me become not that interesting as a dramatic, you know, there's no development there.
Well, I think what we have here is we have a film that has a certain kind of sense of humor, and you know, like and as you know, you can't change somebody's sense of humor, right? Or even verify if they have one.
That was supposed to be funny?
Yeah. No. Well.
Oh wow.
Well,
I think it's, you know, a very talented writer-director, you know, in a real niche area, and the niche is even getting smaller, and there's probably a very small certain group of elitists who might find the film enjoyable.
Ooh, we used the Bill O'Reilly word.
Who might find the film enjoyable. The rest of us have better movies to watch.
It's like a really good short story for my money. So later in the show, Amy Adams and Susan Sarandon are Enchanted, and next, Dustin Hoffman and Natalie Portman star in Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium.
I'm giving you the store.
You're giving me the store?
Surprise!
How much are you asking for that fishmobile up there?
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Well, that's $50.
50? 50? Don't you think that's a little high just for a mobile?
Well, if you notice, they're fresh fish.
Next up is Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium. It's so intent on being whimsical, so aware of its own whimsicality, that it ends up being not very whimsical at all. Now, of course, Dustin Hoffman is one of the great talents of modern movies, but he does make some very unfortunate choices here as the title character. He's just too cutesy as Mr. Magorium, who's like Willy Wonka's kinder, simpler uncle. Magorium's 243 years old, and he's been running a magical toy store in New York for a very long time. The Wonder Emporium is on a real street in a real city. It's not like the Hogwarts train station, visible only to some. So why don't people freak out about this place?
Now, E for engine, or F for fire. Let's try F.
Ah, that's the lovely Natalie Portman as Molly, Mr. Magorium's longtime assistant. She's just about the most magical thing in the store, maybe even in the world, but she doesn't know it. And neither she nor the store itself can handle it when Mr. Magorium announces he's dying. Jason Bateman does a nice job as the uptight accountant who tries to make some sense of the place, though we never really get the expected romance with Portman. Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium sprinkles a lot of stardust and makes a lot of happy noise, but it's almost never funny and only intermittently charming, so I can't recommend it, Michael.
You know, I gotta say, good logical dissection of all the logic flaws in this movie. I haven't, but I haven't had the urge to flee a movie in the first half hour to this degree so much, and then ended up liking it.
Really?
I don't know when. Yeah, because you're absolutely right.
Listen to your first instinct.
No. I stuck it out, man. Right. The trick is that you really do take the death of Magorium seriously, and those scenes, as they're written by and directed by Zach Helm, I think he takes that seriously in a way that I haven't seen in too many kids' movies in a long time. And so I think as a result, the film's got a bigger heart than you expect, and the fact that it's not very funny almost doesn't matter by the end.
Well, if it's not very funny and it's not very charming, and
I would say it's
about
charming.
A guy dying. Oh, there's a feel-good feel-good movie to take the kids to. It's rated G. Watch the main guy die. That's a lot of fun.
It's got a heart that's something like B movie, which I liked okay, but in a way, this film is very non-formulaic and kind of off Hollywood. It doesn't feel standard.
And Zach Helm's a talented guy. He wrote Stranger Than Fiction, which I liked a lot, and I do give it points for effort, and I think they were very smart. They focus on Natalie Portman's face as much as possible, and she's just absolutely lovely. But Hoffman, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It's a terrible performance. That cutesy voice, it just doesn't work for this character.
I grant you
and
that
I think the character himself is not really developed.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's doing Ed Wynn or Edward Everett Horton, but in a way it worked for me more than it did for you.
He's doing Dr. Creepy. Okay. All right, coming up next, Disney animation comes to life in Enchanted. But first, here's another review from the Balcony Archive, where you can watch 20 years of movie reviews at themoviestv.com.
Like, this is a movie, I sat there watching it going like, you know what, my old man would have loved this movie. This was right up his alley.
What? I mean, what are you telling me here? You're telling me you liked it
I'm telling you my dad was an idiot, and he would have liked this movie.
No, you're telling
The problem is not with the people that started this thing. The problem is with us, who do nothing.
All right, looking at movies now in theaters, I did like Lions for Lambs with reservations. I did not like Rails and Ties, and a mild recommendation for Fred Claus.
Really? The hockey stop? Yeah, there's a passenger back here, in case you didn't remember, All-Star.
Oh, sorry. At least you didn't throw up.
All you need is one great performance to lift a film out of the routine. And with Enchanted, the performance belongs to Amy Adams. It opens next week, and this is an early review. Adams was the irrepressible heart of the movie Junebug, and she's delightful in the role of Giselle in Enchanted, an animated fairy tale princess who gets thrown down a well by a wicked queen played by Susan Sarandon. Giselle ends up in modern-day Manhattan, where she's no longer a cartoon, but still manages to be the most animated tourist around. Patrick Dempsey and Rachel Covey play a father and daughter who become Giselle's first human friends.
Now, if I could only find a place to rest my head for the night.
What kind of place?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a nearby meadow or a hollow tree.
A hollow tree.
Or a house full of dwarves. I hear they're very hospitable.
Pursuing Giselle is her storybook prince, played by James Marsden, and the Queen's sniveling minion, played by Timothy Spall. Here, Marsden arrives in Times Square and starts making inquiries.
I seek a beautiful girl. My other half, my one coquette. The answer to my love's duet.
I'd like to find one of them too, you know?
Then keep a wary eye out, Artie.
So it's right about here where Enchanted starts getting good.
Mother?
Edward! Yes. Oh, her! I was taking her out for a little fresh air. She seems to have swooned. Oh, leave her, darling.
There's nothing special and enchanted about the direction or the collision of animated and real worlds. And the climax gets bogged down in computer-generated dragons, rainstorms, that kind of thing. But through it all, Amy Adams shows how to make a comic cliche work like magic. She's a marvelous comedian, and she makes this movie worth seeing, I think. I liked it.
I agree. I particularly enjoyed the scene where she went past Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium and said, that could never happen.
Good,
I guess it's all in the execution.
Unlike
Michael,
Fred Claus. Okay, Fred Claus, very pleasant.
Here we are, you know, this time the Flight of Fancy taking place in New York. I'm all with it. It's a fairy tale, and yeah, we may have seen some of this stuff in Shrek before, but I like the idea of the fairy tale characters becoming real-life characters in New York City. And you're right. Amy Adams is this movie. You just believe her. And, you know, I like the idea because, you know, the truth is if you did see somebody in a full princess gown in Times Square acting like, you know, she thinks she's from Cartoonland, you might not really turn that much, just like people really don't in New York City, because you're like, okay, yeah, she's a little bit crazy, but hey, that's New York.
I was just saying, I would think in Times Square she would just be mistaken for somebody in the stage
tickets.
No, stage version of Beauty and the Beast or something. But no, she's great, and I think, you know, in Junebug and things like Catch Me If You Can, the Spielberg film,
she's terrific.
Yeah, interesting comic chops.
And I do agree with you. The last 15 or so minutes of this were unnecessary. Too much of the special effects, and the real special effect here is Amy Adams.
She's good.
All right, sir, if you put Mad Max, Brazil, Strange Days, and Blade Runner in a blender and press the Fellini button, you'd get Southland Tales. You'd also get one of the most confusing, ridiculous, pretentious, and disastrous cinematic train wrecks I've ever seen. In this movie, it's 2008, 3 years after a nuclear attack on Texas, so naturally the film takes place in Venice Beach, California. The artist formerly known as The Rock plays a former action star with amnesia. Sarah Michelle Gellar plays a porn star named Krista Now, and Sean William Scott has a dual role as two versions of himself, or something like that.
And you're researching your role? You play a cop? You want to do Ride Along?
Yes, exactly. But I'm also directing a film. It takes place in the near future.
Right.
Scientists are saying the future is going to be far more futuristic than they originally predicted.
We also get Justin Timberlake playing some kind of soldier who gets his own dance number, and a bunch of Saturday Night Live veterans who show up as rebels and assassins. This is 2 hours and 24 minutes of abstract crap. It has a tacky look, an incomprehensible plot, some truly awful acting, and did I mention it's 2 hours and 24 minutes long? I'd rather take a nail gun to the spleen than sit through this again.
You with the nail gun, always. And look, I can't really recommend this film in good conscience to a general audience, but
good.
I gotta say, spare me your bile. And I mean, save the bile for a movie that's a soul-crushing, well-made kind of piece of junk like Apocalypto or Shoot 'em Up. Because this film, hold on, this film actually has a head on its shoulders, even though it's got no sense of direction.
I cashed in some of my bile money market funds to spend on this one, my friend.
Good-o, okay. Now and then, an unfilmable book gets turned into a really good movie. I'd say The Unbearable Lightness of Being was one. More often, though, you end up with a well-intentioned disappointment like Love in the Time of Cholera. Javier Bardem, currently freaking everyone out in No Country for Old Men, plays Florentino. As a young man in late 19th century Colombia, he met the love of his life, played by Giovanna Mezzogiorno.
What do you realize?
What is between us is nothing more than an illusion.
Through the years, Florentino consoles his aching heart with 622 love affairs. That makes him the Wilt Chamberlain of Latin American literature. Bardem's wonderful, but the spark just isn't there in director Mike Newell's film version. The novel by Gabriel Garcia Marquez seems to have flummoxed the screenwriter, Ronald Harwood, who never seems to get under the skin of anybody or figure out the Marquez sense of humor. By the time the half-century-long wait is over for the main characters, you're more than ready to call it a day. I was. Disappointment for me.
You know, Michael, I'm recommending it, even though I have to say it's kind of a bad movie.
Okay, good. I believe you already.
You know what I mean? And sometimes you're just watching a bad movie and you're like, well, I'm still entertained, so I'm recommending it on that sort of level. I like the cinematography. Bardem is an amazing actor. There are a lot of breasts spilling out all over the place.
Okay, but why bad? Why bad?
Well, because it doesn't have that, you know, the heart and soul. And it's just it's a strange story because he's basically the world's most elegant, dedicated half-century stalker is what it comes down to.
But here's the thing. I think this novel, there's hardly any dialogue in the book at all. And it's all this third-person observation. And I think that it makes it especially hard for a screenwriter and a director to figure out a way to really kind of get these people into three dimensions.
Well, I get what you're saying. You know, Roger and Gene used to talk about guilty pleasures, so I guess I'll put it under that category for me. Coming up next, John Travolta straps on the girdle and Bruce Willis saves the world. Two separate movies in our video segment. But first, here's a look at what's coming up on next week's show.
See, you just want me to say what you want me to say.
This week's video segment is brought to you by Raisinets. Make a deliciously smart choice with Raisinets.
I love America. America gave me wings. I will not sign it. Absolutely not.
Okay, looking at movies new on DVD, some really good work from Christian Bale and Steve Zahn in Rescue Dawn. I kind of hated Amazing Grace, and my video pick this week, Michael, is Live Free or Die Hard. Probably the best of the Die Hard movies since the original. I thought they put a nice capper on this with Bruce Willis playing, of course, that iconic John McClane.
Right.
One more time.
Tough to beat Alan Rickman in the first one, though. I think
you can't beat Alan Rickman in the first one. He should have been nominated, should have won Best Supporting Actor in the first one, but there's some nice supporting work from his cast of characters here and some great action scenes.
There you go.
As well.
My video pick is Hairspray, and you know why? Because you're one of the nicest kids in town, that's why. That's a song from the movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
All the publicity for Hairspray focused on John Travolta wearing a chub suit in the drag role of Edna Turnblad, whose daughter Tracy, played by Nikki Blonsky, wants to crash 1962 Baltimore's favorite TV dance party. Travolta's entertaining, but Hairspray has a lot going for it. The 2-disc DVD edition includes a number written for Tracy, cut, wisely I'd say, from the theatrical release. I have not yet sung along with the thing using the lyric track or practiced the step-by-step dance instructions. I'm saving that for the holidays.
But you are, I noticed, wearing the John Travolta support hose.
Yes, yes. Very slimming.
Yeah,
yes.
and comfortable, I'm told. All right, so Hairspray and Live Free or Die Hard will be in stores on Tuesday. We'll be back to recap this week's show right after this.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is sponsored by...
Man has evolved to the point where he no longer needs to stand in line for tickets. The MovieTickets.card, available only at MovieTickets.com.
Guests of Ebert and Roeper stay at the Peninsula Chicago, the city's most exciting luxury hotel, located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile.
Okay, recapping the movies on this week's show, we both liked Enchanted. It opens next week. I liked Beowulf and Love in the Time of Cholera. Michael did not. Michael, however, loved Margot at the Wedding. He liked Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium. I'm not going for either one of those movies, and we both said no to Southland Tales.
So, wait, okay, so Cholera is bad, but you liked it. I don't get it.
Well,
it's bad, but you liked it.
I tried to explain. Watch the show at home. You'll see
I will.
what I mean.
I'll check the website. Good.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, that's it for this week. Until next week, the balcony is closed.
I did it. I surrendered to my desire.
It's pancake surrender at IHOP. Try pumpkin, cheesecake, or carrot cake. IHOP. Come hungry, leave happy.
If you think a prune is a prune, you haven't tried new Sunsweet Ones. How do you like the individual wrappers?
It's not dry at all. They're delicious.
New Sunsweet Ones. Bite for bite, even better than fresh fruit.
How does Emergency boost your health and your energy? With energizing B vitamins and immune-boosting C. Emergency. Feel the good.
Net Zero gives you the fastest surfing available over dial-up and virus protection, starting at $9.95. Try it risk-free for 30 days with our money-back guarantee.